And then these two works, I think these works are quite interesting. And the reason I'm actually writing a second, I'm writing a second exhibition, which I plan to do sometime in September. Also, I want to do it here in VR. I found it quite fascinating, and I'm actually starting that exhibition here at this end. And this is something that I did notice that happened probably from 2010. I did notice that the level of, especially the millennial generation, the younger generation, because all these social pressures, especially with because of consumerism, in technology, the absorption and the dependency of technology, it grew very insecure. And I was talking to Sam. If Sam is here with in the chat, hey Sam, I was just talking to Sam Hayes 2 days ago, and we were talking about, like, when I was growing up, we never had we as a kid, you grew up with character, because you never had to seek like a self-reinforcement from people or a social reinforcement, because there was no Instagram, there was nothing. It was getting out of your house and ride your bicycle and play football with your friends, and face the mother because she's angry because she's asking your friends to go for dinner, and it felt real. Which is you will see it on the next exhibition I'm opening with that, what the sense of reality that I do see on millennial works. That there's nostalgia for a time that felt real. So I did sense that about 2010, 2015, I started seeing a lot of works that were more they were back into the expressionism or exploring more into introversion. So we have two works here, one by Lulu Ngie, which is, excuse me if I mispronounced her name, my Cantonese is as good as my Russian. Is a work that is extremely, I found it very, very minimalistic, very nihilistic in a sense, and is extremely introverted. She really goes back into herself, try to start looking for answers within herself. And the other work here is Haegue, which is a very well-established Korean artist. And if anybody's in New York right now, please go to the MoMA. She's doing this huge installation in the new wing. So you guys, you can actually, I think they don't allow you to touch you have to wait for the performance to touch the mobiles. But please go, because in my opinion, Haegue is extremely plastic. She makes these beautiful works out of the most simple objects, and that only happens when artists start really looking for answers inwards. They're like, I was discussing on this panel that I saw that the world went into a level of, especially on the abstract, went into the whole geometric abstraction and so on, and went really deep down into minimalism. We saw works of Korean movement, which I cannot pronounce. I want to, but Daxewa, okay, please correct me. My pronunciation is really bad. But it went super deep down into minimalism. And people got pushed into like the lowest boundary of artwork, which is like probably like an empty canvas, which there are tons of works of them. And then I saw that from that point of an empty canvas, it went out again into some sort of like into what they call like this neo-expressionism, into exploring again, but well within, like letting your inner psyche start expressing your feelings. So the work here to the left, the work on Lulu, the moment you see it, you always sense this sense of I won't say loneliness, or in very intense introversion, like you feel like you are alone surrounded by people. So her shyness is very intense. Lulu is an extremely adorable person. She's very shy, she's very quiet, very composed. I enjoy talking to her. I know her very well. How I met her and how I found this work, it was with a gallery. There was a show in Shanghai, in a show, it's an art fair called 021, and I flew there, and there was this gallery from Hong Kong called Exit Gallery. They were doing a solo show with this artist. And I mean, it's really rare that because you're in these big fairs and you see works and works and works and works and works. But this, I mean, it was about this size. It's quite, this camera is about 8, if I'm not mistaken. To me, it's just like, because I think all of us at one point, we do feel like this work. We feel this like we want to be perhaps go into ourselves and even fantasize with our inner selves and let that fantasy, that inner interpretation just flourish. And then that's actually what I see here. I see her a very private thought and interpretation of reality, and she tries to keep it simple, even flat, and happy, and this is a beautiful way of expressing your introversion out, and that's the reason that. And I'm a big fan of this artist. I recently bought 2 more works, and I collect about 4 works from her. I'm a big fan. I think she's one for the future, especially her minimalism. And I do see a lot of works from Miriam Kahn, for example, is very similar in I think she's German, if I'm not mistaken. Japanese super flat movement. I forgot the name of the artist. It's also quite similar. No Murakami, but the other. I'm really bad with names, but there's a very famous, which is with Perotan Gallery, a quite well-known Japanese artist that is also quite. Or Nara, there you go. Yoshitono Nara is also quite super flat, but is also quite introvert. So you have the same feeling. And then the Haegue, which is exploring like extremely simple elements of taking these collages and then composing them in extremely beautiful. She finds, I don't know, Haegue for me is a mind of its own. She sees beauty on the most simple object you can possibly imagine. And I value that very much from her. The opportunity to meet her once in Seoul. One artist that I really admire. I think she could be one of the, aesthetically, the way that she describes things aesthetically is just beautiful. So if any of you have the opportunity to go to Seoul, I recommend you to go to the Lium Museum. Probably you guys can put in the comment which other, or of course you can go to the MoMA to see the work. But in the Lium Museum, they have this beautiful mural, which is stunning. Or just go to Eg-geo Gallery. I think they might have some works, and I mean they're a big fan. And actually, this one has a story because I was in Seoul. True story. I took a train. Georgie can say that, but it's a true story. We took a train for 3 hours from Seoul to Busan to go into the gallery, the Eg-geo Gallery in Busan, to spend 5 hours inside a room because I wanted to study the catalog, and then we left the room, and then we took the train for 3 more hours and came back to Seoul. And I think they hate me for that. But for me, it's very important that I need to understand. And besides appreciating the art, I need to understand it. And that for me is like the way that I can present my respects to an artist is not by telling them that your art is beautiful, is by spending my time studying their works. And I met with Mr. Ha Chong-yong, which is one of the greatest living artists today in Korea, and he actually told me that. He told me that, yeah, art needs to be felt and then understood.